Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back if you're returning. So I have this picture of Kendra's nails up, paused here for everyone for a little longer than usual because I want you guys to take a look. She hasn't been back for 4 weeks. This is her last set. I'll link in the cards when I did this set, but she broke one nail. I just want you guys to notice not just the grow out, but where her apex is, because this isn't going to be just a fill. We're going to need to completely rebalance these nails. So let's get right into it. So what I'm going to do is show you guys my setup and how, like, some of the products I'm using and where I start with something like this. So we just weren't able to get our schedules to match, so she, went an extra week or so. I've shown this before on my channel, but my returning clients, I keep a plastic tub with their names on them. With only thing I keep in it are the files that I've reused. So I'm just showing you guys that I need to replace both sides of that Tammy Taylor peel and stick file for today's set. So I'm just putting that stuff in there. Today I'm going to try this Cooserry top coat, and especially their primer. I haven't had a chance to try these products on any real nails. So I'm also going to use this Zule's Bond-Aid and my acrylic primer from Kara Sky. Some Young Nail Swipe. And I'm going to dump the utensils that I'm going to be using on her set in her tub so that they just stay contained and dust free while I work. And I'm going to be taking out the stuff that I know I'm going to be needing first, which will be this 5-course removal bit from Not Polish, which is my favorite bit to remove product with. I set that aside, and that bit is just my favorite. If you turn this bit up to about 12 to 15,000, it just shreds the product off the nail. And when it's going quickly, it just does the job. So right here I'm looking at her nail health. I'm asking her questions. I'm asking if she has any lifting. I'm turning the nails upside down and just have a brief consultation about any issues she might have noticed before I go in with a strong bit. If I notice my bit is dragging like I did just there, it wasn't turned up high enough, so I'll turn it up higher. So I think I had it maybe at about 11 or 12, and I turned this up to about, I think, maybe almost 15 to do this removal. So I've showed plenty of removal on my channel, so I'm not going to show you guys the removal of all of these nails, but I am going to show you on this nail particularly, because although she doesn't have lifting, she has what I call pre-lifting. So I'm going to slow this down here to real time so you guys can see what I start noticing when I get the color off of this nail. Next time she comes back, we're soaking off completely, because I like to do a complete soak off like every 3rd or 4th set so I can get a good look at what's going on under her nails. But I can start seeing at this point that she's going to have a little, what I call pre-lifting. This is not lifted yet, but if I don't get this product off that I'm going to show you guys in a minute, moisture can get under there when I apply new acrylic, and we do not want that. That is what will cause a greenie or bacteria or anything like that. So that's what I'm looking at here. I'm stopping it for you guys so you can see that clear line, right? And you see how that chipped right off? So I'm going to stop here because I'm going to go in with my sanding band and remove that down to that other white line. So I think I show you just one more nail here because I want you to see, every time I do a set, I have a clear layer down first. And so what I'm doing here is I'm removing most of the purple color because she wants an all black set. So that's why I went down quite a bit lower with the nails that are purple. And right here, she wanted them shortened. So I am taking this length down. The black nails I left pretty much the way they were, except for I removed their apex and just flattened them out. And so as we go, I'll show you things I'm learning. I just showed her nail right there to see if that was the length she wanted before I start taking this to a point. The last set she had, they were a little more rounded, and this time she wanted them a little more sharp. So before I did that work, I wanted to check with her to see if that length was okay, because I will be shortening these. As I mentioned before, when she comes in, she works at a restaurant. She does a lot of knife work and prep work, so she needs her nails as short as she can tolerate them. She usually likes them really long, full length, so this has been painful for both of us to have these shorties on. So now I'm going in with my hand file to really reshape these nails. Just like if I were to have naked nails and put on a tip, I would want all of my prep work. The prep work is essential. I spend most of my time on prep. The application doesn't take very long. The finish filing doesn't take very long. It is the prep that is the most essential. So right here I'm showing her length and all of that. So once I get the nails in the shape that I want them to be in, where I feel like it's okay to apply acrylic, I'm going to go in with the rest of my prep. So I'm going to start pushing back her cuticles here. And then I'm going to go in with that sanding band and remove any product that I feel like needs to be removed. I'm not going to touch the natural nail at this point with the sanding band. So right now my sanding band is up to a speed of about 6 or 7 because I am removing product and not going on her natural nail. On her natural nail, I'm going to use my other bit for that. So as you'll see here, I have this up a little higher because I just want a perfect surface for my acrylic application. And while I have it, I'm going around and finishing the edges as well. I'm only showing you a couple of nails here because I've also shown this before on my channel, but I just want you to see what I'm doing. When I get to that ring finger where there is lifting, I'm going to slow it down to real time again so you guys can see how I remove that product, the direction I keep my bit in, and all of that. Right here I'm just showing you like a normal removal and what it would look like if there wasn't any lifting. So you just want, essentially you want your product flush to the nail, and if you're at this speed you do not want to touch the natural nail. I guess I'm going to show you a few of them. Okay, so I think why I did this was because when I get down to the clear layer, you'll see it, and you'll see how there's no white ring around it, and how I can tell that these don't have lifting. So I'm going to take this black off so that I'm able to see the clear layer and see that it is not lifting. So that's what I'm doing here. I can tell pretty much at this point that none of these nails that I've gone on so far have any of that pre-lifting I've talked about. The only nail that I did find with that was this ring finger that I'm going to go on to next. So you see that clear layer there? It's not lifting at all, so I can leave that right the way it is as long as the rest of the nail is the shape I want. And I mean the shape I want as far as how much product I want left on there or not. So I don't know if you guys remember, but under the purple and black set, she had a green and clear butterfly set. So that's what that green is that you see there, was a butterfly from last time. It's perfectly okay to leave that there. So now I'm going to start just basically chipping away at this area until all of that lifted product just flicks off. I'm going to keep my nail flat. I'm not going to aim it at an angle or dig in that spot. That will damage her natural nail under there. It will give her a ring of fire. It will thin out her nail. It could burn her or hurt her. So I'm also going to keep it moving. I'm not going to do it all in one spot, but I'm going to keep my bit flat to the nail. If you notice that, it doesn't really look like I'm on that area, but I am, and I'm going a little bit under it to kind of chip it off, if you guys can see that. So this is in real time, so you guys, I can show you. And I want all of that white off. All of those edges that look white need to be removed, because that means it's getting ready to come up and moisture can get under there. So when I feel like it's done, I'll stop and move on to the next nail, and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, and the next step I'm going to do, since I didn't do any work on her natural nail or her cuticles, I'm going to go in with my Care Sky medium barrel bit that I love to use for prep, and I'm going to take the shine off of her natural nail and go all around her cuticles and get the dead skin off on all of the nails. So that's what I'm doing here. I forgot to mention here that anytime I'm on the natural nail, I'm using a speed of 3 or maybe 4,000 RPMs. And right here, I'm going to dust off the nails of any dust, and I'm going to go in with some swipe and really, really clean up any of the dust and debris around the edges and corners. And I think I go on to show you how I removed that nail that was broken. Okay, so yeah, you guys, I'm sorry, this is a little out of order. So, because I chose one hand to show you for one thing and one hand to show you for another. So I'm going in with my Cooserry, that was Zulay's Bond-Aid. This is the Cooserry primer. And then I'm going to go in with my Sky acrylic primer. And that's a gummy, sticky, I get no lifting ever, ever, ever since I've started using this product. You guys should get yourself some. So this just goes on the natural nail. And you just put a thin layer. It's thick stuff and it stays sticky looking. It's not going to dry. So it's different than other primers. I'm going to go in with and replace my clear layer. So I don't think you guys notice on my channel, anytime I do a set, when I start, I always start with a clear layer, whether it's a black acrylic, a pink acrylic. That's so when I go to do removal, I have that clear layer to refer to and get down to. It also blends the tip on a new set. There's many reasons I do this. Plus, clear acrylic is in its strongest form, so I feel like that just gives a little strength to anytime I'm using a solid or really pigmented color like black. I believe it also gives a little strength. I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I think. So I'm replacing my clear layer. And then I think next I'm going to show you guys the removal of that broken nail that she has. Nope. Okay, I'm going to go in with the application on this hand. I wasn't sure if I kept in the acrylic application on both hands. Sometimes it's hard to see well the application with black acrylic because of the glare of the light and all of that. So I'll let you guys watch this and come back on if I see anything I need to mention. Okay, I want to mention a couple of things. You guys will start to see right here where the top of this nail starts getting that little matte look. This is the sweet spot of acrylic, okay? As soon as it starts getting that matte look, but before it's mattified, this is when it is super malleable. It stays in place, and it's to me, it's the sweet spot right before it starts to dry. That's when I like to work it or make my beads almost in that matted state, I guess. It's when they're the thickest and most malleable, I believe. And it lets you do more work on it than you think it does. You think it's dry, like, oh, as soon as it gets that matte look, I'm not going to be able to manipulate it, but that's not true. It's actually like the perfect time to start working it. You got to be quick, though, or work in small pieces if you are going to work dry like that. In my experience, when you work, the more wet your beads are, it's just the more disastrous things become. My next video is going to be the unboxing of a Cooserry kit I got, you guys, and then the next video I plan on doing a really in detail liquid to powder ratio application video, and not just liquid to powder like where I tap, dip, 1, 2, 3 and put it on a napkin. I just have a bunch of things in mind that I want to help you guys with, and some tips that I've learned along the way I would love to show you guys. So, a lot of times when I'm doing a client, I don't have time to get the right angle or stop and show you. Their time is valuable. So I'm just trying to work and, get them out of there. It's not specifically a good time for me to, get something from a side angle or stop and show you what a wet bead looks like, or you know what I mean. So I pretty much have to do stuff like that on a practice hand or a dedicated video, although I can show things as I go along. So one thing I do want to mention about this set as well is using black acrylic, especially on see how it's matte, has that matte look? Oh, I love it. Anyway, when you're using black acrylic, it's hard. It stains the skin, the cuticles. it's hard to see what you're doing. It's hard to tell if your bead is wet or not. It's just difficult. But as soon as I start filing, I've noticed anytime I do a stiletto or almond shaped set with black, it just takes one swipe of your file in the sidewall area, since they need to be real trim, to shave that acrylic off. And I mentioned already that when she comes back next time, we're completely soaking these off and removing, because it'll be her 4th set, and that's just what I do. So I was not going completely perfect on this application. The acrylic is all in the places it needs to be for strength and retention while she's wearing them, but I did not make them completely perfect as far as the cuticle area and the sidewall area, because I am going to polish these black when I'm finished to clean up any little spots like I just mentioned where I can file off some black around the edges. You guys will see what I mean when I get there. So here, now I'm going to show you this nail that she broke. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test it. I'm going to push on it a little bit. I'm going to ask her about it. Where's it lifting? Does it hurt? Do you think you have any breakage under there? You know, because the client can tell from the pain they experienced when they broke the nail if they split it, you know, did it bleed or whatever. I ask all of that. I feel it, because if you put pressure or a bit like this on a nail that is wiggling or broken, you just need to know where the break is and where the lifting is before you go in with a harsh process like this. And I do have this at on real time for you guys right now, so you can see that I'm actually not going super fast. And I want you to notice my thumb. Where it's lifting is where my thumb is at. So I'm holding my thumb there as much as I can to keep it steady. And here I'm going to show you like where it's lifting is right there. So that is where I need to go real gentle. So you see how this is just floating? I'm literally floating this bit very softly and putting my pressure there. So that, in other words, if I came in from the side here, that would pull on her. So as soon as I'm out of that area, I'm going to put my thumb back there to hold that in place, so she doesn't have any pulling or any pain, if that makes sense. You guys have done your nails before, you know what I'm talking about. As soon as you start doing removal, it's going to pull in that area. So I do my best to hold the nail in place while I'm removing. And when I get down to what I think can be soaked off easily, we're going to go into a soak off. So I'm just showing you how I'm doing that right now. And again, right here, I'm also floating. This is why I kept this in real time again, so you guys could see. If this was sped up twice, it might look like I was being more rough than I am. But really, I'm just gently floating this bit. And I do have it up at about 12 or 15 as well. And the reason why is because the slower your bit is, the more it's going to drag. And you definitely don't want any dragging when you're trying to remove product on a nail that your client has broke in some way. Obviously, this injured her when this happened. So, you know, if it happened yesterday, it's going to be pretty sore. So, right here, what I'm doing is, that's the only nail that needs to soak off. So I'm asking her, you'll see me like kind of move that finger a little bit before I started working. It was because I wanted to know from her, is it okay if I hold your finger or move it in this angle while you're soaking? Because I don't want to bend her finger in an unnatural way and hurt her. But so you should always, you know, manage your time, be sure you're working. If you have a soak off, don't just sit there and let the soak off happen while you chat. You should still be working and keep this process going. So right here, while she's soaking off, I'm going to go in and do as much filing and taking the length off, and everything I did to the other hand, I'm going to try to do while she's soaking. So you saw me push back the cuticles, and now I'm going to be reshaping these nails, and when she comes out of the soak off, I'll jump back on. Okay, so I've also shown this before on my channel. When I take a nail out of a soak off, I get a paper towel and I just wipe it off. I don't spend tedious time scraping at it with a cuticle pusher or whatever. It's really not necessary, especially if you take most of the product off like I did with a bit. And look how this looks terrible, right? Whenever you pull out an acetone, it just looks like, oh my gosh. All right, so I'm going to get my sanding band on a speed of 3 or 4,000. I have this in real time for you guys, just so you can see that actually once this acetone residue is removed, the only product she has on her nail is a small bit of glue and tip toward her free edge. And it's perfectly okay to leave that there. It would actually be more damaging for me to try to just grind that off. It doesn't need to be removed, it's fine. But I do want you to see the condition of her nail after the soak off. This is what they should be looking like, you guys. There shouldn't be any rings of fire. There shouldn't be any divots. There shouldn't be any damage. She's had her nails on for over a year with me. She went a small month or two break without nails, but other than that, she's had set after set after set, fills, soak offs, everything. And her nail is in perfect, beautiful condition. And this is what you want to see whenever you do a soak off, you guys. So if you have any questions about soak offs or nail health or how to keep them that way, just put it in the comments. I'm happy to help you guys. So here I'm going to go in with my ball bit and buff out any remaining dead cuticle skin. And then I'm going to go in with some swipe, which I didn't show, but I do put swipe on the nails. And then I'm going to replace the tip that she's missing. And I'm going to go right in with the application, I believe. You guys, I know it looks out of order where I pretty much did start to finish one hand and then start to finish another, and that's because right when she got here she was hungry, so she ordered some food. So I did the application and everything on one hand and left her other hand completely to her so she could eat. Again, keep that work moving when you have someone in your chair. So I'm doing all the same prep that I would do if this was a brand new set, and like I showed you on the other set. So I'm going to go with my clear layer, my bonder, all of that stuff, and we're going to get another look at the acrylic application. And like I mentioned a minute ago about not getting the sidewalls and not getting the cuticle area, what I meant by that, of course I got the sidewalls and the cuticle area covered with acrylic, but what I meant by that was I didn't do it super thick and super perfect because I know I'm going to be able to go in with the polish. So if I miss a little, I didn't miss any areas, but you'll notice in the cuticle area mostly where I don't have it completely perfect. It's hard to do that with black, and you know what I mean. Like this one looks pretty good. It's pretty uptight against her cuticle, and it's nice and round. I'm talking about the placement of the acrylic as close to her cuticle as possible. That area, how it looks nice and rounded. Well, sometimes as I'm applying here, I didn't get that completely round because I knew I was going in with polish. So as long as my structure and strength is there, I didn't need to be completely perfect in that application. So if you see that, that's why. Also, what I meant earlier too was about the sidewalls being thin. What I meant was the acrylic layer is thin on the sidewalls because the nature of this shape is that there's not much acrylic there. So just one swipe of the file could remove it. I've mentioned that as well when I do her nails in particular because she always gets this shape recently. Just one swipe of your file when you're doing your finish filing or your free edge shaping can take the acrylic off. Black, purple, whatever acrylic you're using, it's really easy to completely remove the work you did just with one swipe of your file. So since I knew she was getting black and I knew what we were doing with the nails, I decided to go in with a polish just to stop the stress of all of that. So you see how this cuticle area isn't in a perfect line. It looks good, but it's not exactly perfect like I would like it. I didn't stress on it too much because I knew I was going in with polish. So that's all I meant by that. I had that frozen there because I just wanted you to see how well this nail came out after the clear layer, and that's just how it should look when you have a new nail on or when you do a soak off. So I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of this application, and as usual, jump on when something else needs to be said. Okay, so here's how the nails are looking, application only. I just stopped here for a second so you guys can see. And now I'm going to go in with my Tammy Taylor peel and stick, 100 and 180 on, I stick one of each to each side of the board. And I'm going to do my free edge filing. Some of them don't need any because I'm going to go in with my finish filing e-file bit. So right here I'm only doing the free edge shaping. Some of them need quite a bit. The sides need to be taken off, the apex needs to be fixed, and some just need a little trimming. So that's what you're going to see me doing here, and I'll jump on if I need to say anything else. When I get to the e-filing part, I'll come back on. I guess one thing I should say about the filing process is if you guys want to or think about it, watch where I'm placing my left hand, the hand that's holding the finger, not the hand that's holding the file. Every opportunity I have, I am holding the nail, the finger, just anywhere I place that hand is all to do with bracing as much jarring and jolting and possible pain to my client while I'm really going in with this file. So just pay attention to how I have my hand whenever I need to do in this area. So for example, I'll hold the whole finger. When I'm going in on the bottom, I'll hold the top, just that kind of thing. So think about that. You're creating a lot of pressure and wiggling, and like I've mentioned before, our fingers and fingertips have the most nerve endings, of anything. They're extremely sensitive. And some people are more sensitive than others. So you should be trying to brace the nail as well as you can anytime you're doing filing. Okay, so here I am using my Not Polish medium barrel safety bit. So it's a medium grit. I have this on a speed of about 12,000 RPMs usually. And I'm just pretty much floating it over the nail in different directions. I'm not using hardly any pressure. If your application is pretty tight, this is simply just to finish file, essentially. So I'm going to seal the cuticles, and I can get in there pretty tight and pretty close, even at a high speed, because I'm just lightly going across the surface. I'm not going to be, if you push down on it, you're going to create gouges. You're actually going to destroy your shape. So go as lightly as you can and just get the scratches out. That's basically what I'm doing. You might notice as we go here that on some of her free edge, I don't know if it shows it here or if it was on the other hand, but my hand filing or this bit does take off a little bit of the product around the free edge, in which again, I'm not worried about that because I'm going to polish them. Usually she doesn't get a solid black set, like the last set, one's purple, one's black. So I do have to worry because I don't have a matching polish I can go in and clean up with. I have to get their acrylic back out and put it back where I took it off of. And it's just extremely annoying. And that is really in particular this shape, because the sidewalls are so narrow and thin. With a stiletto or an almond like this, or a short stiletto, she actually made these short stiletto this time. It's just an issue. If you've ever done them, you know what I'm talking about. There's just no product there, but you have to have product there. So this is my favorite black gel polish, Zula's. It's the right texture. It is so pigmented. You can just see from this application that it's amazing. So I'm just going to go in on all the nails with one light coat of this and just make sure that any spots that I was missing acrylic, I'm just going to clean that up. So you can see there was one edge right there that I just made perfect with the polish, and also any cuticle area that wasn't a nice perfect round shape, I'm going to perfect with this polish as well. I'm going to get a little cleanup tool that has a little cotton swab on the end of it. Like, here's an example. See how there's no acrylic on that side there? So annoying. So I'm going to, this little tool that I'm using right here, I got this off of Shein, really cheap as usual, like everything from there. And on Shein, I don't know how to say it, this little tool is listed as something that eyelash techs use. So you can see here on the edge of this nail and right up at the cuticle, this was like the worst offender, I think. You can see why I'm using the polish to perfect it. So it's nothing to do with structure or anything that's gonna cause lifting or give her any problems with her nails. I'm just making my life easier by putting a coat of black polish on these, because it's literally what gives my stomach, you know, anxiety when I'm trying to apply black acrylic, are these little edges. It's just the bane of my existence, because I can make it perfect, and one swipe of the file ruins it. I literally have to get the acrylic back out and blah blah blah. But since I knew her whole set was going to be black, I was like, yes, I can just polish them. So I am going in with very light coat of this Cooserry top coat. This is a gel top coat. I'm going to cure it, and the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to be putting some stickers on, and I learned long ago that if you use nail stickers without a top coat under them, you'll be able to see the outline of the stickers, because stickers usually have an outline that's larger than the actual picture on the sticker, and as soon as you top coat that, it looks just crappy. So I put a top coat down first, and then I'm applying these stickers. These are glow in the dark stickers I got from a Halloween set, but they really just spoke to Kendra with like the planets and stars, and so we're just gonna crowd the nails with just as many of these as we can, and this turned out looking so cute. After this, I'm gonna go in with not polished gloss it for our final top coat, some cuticle oil, and this is the end of the set, you guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're really close to 500, and I'm just so excited. I'm so thankful for all of you guys. I'm so glad you're here. I love doing this. I love helping people. I love seeing you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for being here, you guys, and I will see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you guys later. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye. Oh, there's one little thing. After these come out of the light, I always take my 180 side of the file. I usually don't show this or I forget, and just lightly buff the edges of the nails to get off any top coat that might have rounded that shape out. So that's what I'm doing here, you guys. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.